All right, welcome everyone. We're looking at the influences on the Founding Father. Today we're going to be looking at the influential documents and a little bit of the historical background of it. Remember, these are things that influenced the Founding Fathers' thinking and how they viewed government. Just a little review, the Enlightenment, it was how we applied scientific thinking to our society. There's less emphasis on faith, and what I mean by faith, I mean the idea that kings receive their power from God, and we're going to no longer feel that way as a society. And that shaped how people thought about government. And we looked at two philosophers yesterday. On the left-hand side, you have John Locke, and he believed that people had natural rights, life, liberty, and property, and that it was the government's job to protect those rights. And the government cannot protect those rights, then the people have to find a new government. And that idea is social contract. The man on the right is who we call Baron Montesquieu. He influenced the Founding Fathers through the idea of separation of powers, meaning that you break up the power of government into three branches, the executive being the one who carries out the law, legislative, who writes the law, and judicial, who interprets the law. So in the Middle Ages, in 1215, King John was heavily taxing his people and the lords and barons and nobles, and they were upset about it because they felt like he was wasting the money. So what did they do is they ended up rebelling against him and forced him to sign a document we call the Magna Carta. Now, in it, King John promised that no free man could be imprisoned or property taken without trial by jury by his peers. A lot like what we have today, trial by jury. Also, no taxation on the barons without their approval. That's going to sound very familiar because in the American Revolution we would chant no taxation without representation. Now, the influence, as you see in blue, is that this established the idea of limited government, a government that is not all powerful. The king is under the law as well as everyone else. Now, the barons and nobles, as part of the Magna Carta, would become advisors to the king. Well, that advisory would eventually become Parliament. And Parliament is the legislative branch, the lawmaking branch of Great Britain today. Fast forward to 1620, we have the Mayflower Compact. During that time, Great Britain had a massive empire. The sun never set on the British Empire, and colonization was a very popular movement during Europe during that time. People were moving from Europe to the New World. And one of those people were the Pilgrims, who were trying to go to Virginia, but they were blown off course and landed in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So back to the Mayflower Compact. They are blown off course, and they're no longer under the protection of Great Britain because they're not on Great Britain territory. So they created their own government, a direct democracy, which means that the people had direct say in government. They voted on laws firsthand. It's not like a representative democracy where we vote for people to govern on our behalf. These people were directly involved, which means it was a small community. And this was important because, as you can see in the blue, it was the first self-government in America. The colonies are going to have a long history of self-government. And when Great Britain started to step on that self-government, that's when we'd be upset. Fast forward to 1689, we have the English Bill of Rights. The dispute between the nobles and King John, well, that conflict still existed in 1689 between the Parliament and the kings. King James was overthrown. Parliament brings in William and Mary, but William and Mary would become king and queen only if they signed the English Bill of Rights. And here you can see the king cannot suspend any laws without consent of Parliament, freedom of speech, no raise armies in time of peace. You could petition the government, meaning that you can ask the government to do things. The regular citizen could bear arms, and no excessive bails or fines, cruel or unusual punishment. All these things, or all these ideas, are in our U.S. Bill of Rights. And another importance of the Bill of Rights, of the English Bill of Rights, is that it extended rights to the regular citizen. The Magna Carta only existed for the nobles. The English Bill of Rights extends rights to the common man. Fast forward to 1776. You have the Americans who, again, who are now the Founding Fathers, believing in natural rights, social contracts, self-government, and a representative democracy, and that a government should protect their rights. They felt that they were English citizens. And so after a series of events that the Americans felt Great Britain was denying them those rights, the relationship was at an all-time low. And so at the Second Continental Congress, we'll cover the first one later, they're trying to decide if they should break away from Great Britain. Some wanted independence, some wanted to stay with Great Britain. And so Thomas Paine argued that it made no sense for the colonies to be governed by a distant island and that the colonies should seek independence. You can see the size of the colonies, excluding Florida, and the size of Great Britain. The colonies were larger, and it took months to communicate overseas. And with the help of common sense, the Second Continental Congress declared independence. Common sense got the American people on board with independence, and we ended up fighting the American Revolution. And so, to sum it all up, the ancient societies and the Enlightenment people and the documents that shaped the Founding Fathers, they did so in certain ways. Number one, people should have power in government. All men have natural rights. Governments are not all powerful, and that governments that do not uphold these rights should be altered or abolished. Social contract for number 4, limited government for number 3, natural rights, then again that's with social contract and John Locke, and people should have power in government. We learned that from Rome and Greece with the direct and representative democracy. Again, direct democracy, just to go over the ideas that influenced the Founding Fathers, direct democracy, the people govern firsthand. They are the ones that are involved in government. They are governing firsthand. Representative democracy, you, the citizens, elect representatives who then govern on your behalf. Social contract, you give power to the government in exchange for the government protecting your rights. Separation of powers, you split the power of government into 3 separate branches: executive, legislative, judicial. Limited government, that is, the government's not all powerful. And then natural rights and the rights of people, you have life, liberty, and property, and that the rights of the people are extended to the common person. I'll see you guys next time.